Oh, hey, gun people, this is a good one. Man, these officers. Notice we don't have body cam of these officers and we don't have audio. But this does not look like justified use of force to me. And the chief, I might add, quota hire, is justifying it because a quota hire was responsible for the abuse. But instead of saying the officer was wrong, this was racist, this was color generated, he's saying he needs to change policy. It's amazing how the narrative changes when a white officer does something and a black officer. And I'm not trying to do this to promote more racial division than already the media does. You need to be aware of it when you hear it, and you can't trust what people say. You know, the old saying, believe nothing of what you hear and only half of what you see. Check this out.
Happens is an officer arrives, he runs into two individuals that are on the same floor, on the third floor, and he goes ahead and gives them very calm direction to...
How do you know it's very calm direction? I'm not hearing any audio. This chief is totally being PC and trying to explain this to the novice who don't understand, but these cops are just bullies. Notice he doesn't say why they're contacting. Do these guys look like they're being violent? Do they look like they're being disruptive? Do they look like they're fighting? Are they angry? This guy allows them to pat him down, he shows absolutely no resistance, and this cop pummels his face. But I digress. Let's get back to quota hires. I mean, the incident at hand here.
Hang on. He asked one of them to sit down. A few more officers arrived via the elevator.
Now, this is a little bit of contempt of cop. 3 cops show up. They want you to pay attention to them, listen to them, do what they say, respect their authority and their presence. They're from the government, and you must respect them or you will get beat down. So this guy, and I can't tell what race this guy is. He doesn't look white to me, but I can't tell if he's black, Hispanic. But again, black officer, bald, I might add. Rick, why are you always picking on bald people? I'm not picking on bald. I'm just stating a fact. Quota hire is bald.
That this happened. And
he's on the phone, no resistance. They're patting him down. Now, the chief says the reason they pat him down is because the call was weapons related. Why don't you tell us what the call was? Why don't you tell us what credibility it is? I mean, if somebody if I want to get somebody patted down, all I got to do is call the police, say, hey, man, I think there's a weapon involved. Go check this out. I mean, you have to have more details. You have to have a specific crime that the cops are investigating. This guy's on the phone minding his own business. 3 cops come in and start patting him down. Rick, you are a cop. You did that. Look, if I did this, I justified it. I said why I was called. I understood that there was a bulge. It was officer safety. They are totally ignoring this guy who is sitting here. They aren't covering this contact officer. These guys are both being contact. This guy's being a cover officer, and this guy is being totally ignored. Maybe he's the one with the weapon. How do they know this guy is the one with the weapon and not this guy? Nothing makes sense. And when you show up, remember, as a cop, it's my job to be suspicious when there's nothing to be suspicious about. So we're always careful and we're always thinking, but you got to be able to articulate why you ignored this guy and why this guy was the bigger threat. And maybe they did. I didn't see the report, but this chief sounds like a weasel the way he's justifying this because it's one quota hire protecting another quota hire.
Because there was allegation that there was weapons involved, the individual was frisked. No weapons were located.
The more I look at this guy, I think he is black. So because he was black, the chief is saying, well, because weapons were involved, it was for their safety. If the white officer had done this without the black officer, it would be the white officer is harassing. Try to pay attention and critical think when you hear stories on how they're spinning this. I could spin this either way. These officers are here doing their job. They pulled in a dark area. It's a dark corner. They had to ensure their safety and make sure that the person wasn't armed, and they had to pat him down because this was a critical incident involving violence and the different way people sell things, it is what it is, people. And there can be two sides. But from this video, this guy, I'm protecting the black guy now for all the people I always call him racist. This black person didn't do anything but talk on a phone and has been totally corrupted, and he gets punched in the face for no reason. This is absolutely outrageous. This guy should be suspended. Everybody should be rioting and calling for his job. You know what? Quota hires get quota special protections.
And then the individual was asked to move away from the railing, because it's the third floor, move away from the railing.
Was he asked or ordered? Because if he was asked and he didn't comply, what's the problem? If he was ordered, why was he ordered? This chief is using some very sleazy, slick words. I'm not impressed.
Stand by the wall, and then it asked to sit down. When the person didn't sit down.
So he was asked to stand by the wall. Then he was asked to sit down after he was already searched and frisked that they knew he didn't have a weapon. So the officers lose their ability to say, well, this was a highly critical event that was evolving and our safety was in jeopardy. No. The guy was cooperative and you patted him down. Why was your safety in jeopardy? Why was this guy a threat, and why would you perceive fear from this guy when he's allowed you to pat him down and he's walked over the wall like you told him? This is just outrageous police conduct, and because the color issue is the issue in today's media and not government abuse and government overreach, this will get ignored and will get condoned, and that doesn't fix the problem of government behavior.
That our officers then engaged in use of force.
Are you kidding me? Look at this guy's lying. He can't even say the words without stuttering. I mean, this guy is a total weasel. Our officers engaged in force. Yeah, they beat the hell out of the guy for no reason. That's what they did. They didn't engage in legal, lawful, necessary, reasonable force to take the guy into custody. Notice he's not using the legal terms of force. He's they engaged in force.
Make them engaged in use of force to make him sit down. I don't feel.
So they ask him, and then they need to make him sit down. Why is he a threat? He has complied. He's allowed you to pat him down. You know he doesn't have a weapon. He voluntarily complied and walked over here. Why does he now need to sit down? This is what's called when you get into court, you need to justify why you did what you did. Why are you you have numbers, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 officers, you have one suspect, so you have numbers, you have radio, you have guns, you have tools, you have all the advantage over this one lone guy who has already been patted down and searched for weapons, and yet still you feel the need to beat him. This is not a color issue. It's not a quota hire issue. This is a government use of force issue that is allowed to exist because the liberal left can play their quota hire and color issue.
That our officers were at their
1, 2, 3, 4 officers on one. Now remember, this is critical in court. You're dealing with a suspect who has complied, who has already been patted down, and who you know does not have weapons, who has shown no violence and no resistance other than he may have not sat down when you told him to. And this is what happens.
best. I don't feel that
kick to the groin, kick, knee, punch, 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 punch,
in the way that it went.
punch,
And so
knocked him out. Another officer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 officers now. There is no exigency. I talk about exigency as a set of circumstances that can prevent, that needs to have immediate action so you don't have time to do other lawful actions. There is no exigency for this guy to get his ass beat. This guy is total getting beat for no reason. This is BS. He's a black man. I'm defending him, but because it's a black officer, nobody will cover it and nobody will say this is wrong. Absolutely outrageous.
For our community to know that I have since moved to institute.
I hope everybody pays attention because people miss these things when you're not thinking tactically. This guy has not been searched, has not been patted down, has not been ID'd, has not been contacted at all. Only this guy with 4 officers has been beat. I mean, this is just outrageous. And this chief sitting here, I want everybody to know I've instigated new policy about when we can hit people. You need to do a new policy? You're telling me that you don't have policy already enacted, that cops shouldn't be punching some guy in the face that is nonviolent, non-resistive, and has already consented to a pat-down search, and you already know he doesn't have weapons. This is outrageous.
Policy changes that will limit the opportunity where we will apply strike.
Oh, another Quotahar showed up. She had to show up to say she can put on a resume now when she's promoting to sergeant. I was on a violent confrontation where a suspect resisted and several officers had to use force to control the suspect. And I was there, and the guy was arrested for a felony, so that was my felony arrest, and that's why I should be a detective. Rick, why is this guy bald? Rick, why are you always picking on bald? I'm just saying, people, observation skills. Pay attention to everything, not just what somebody tells you. I'm giving you information. You can make your own conclusion. I think it's outrageous.
To a person's face or a person's head. Actions for that to occur.
He just said about person's face or head, and now we have this officer shoving the guy's face. Now we have them using force on a guy. Not only is he using force on a guy that's been searched, beat, punched, knocked out, and handcuffed, and you have more officers now. Now, after he's handcuffed, his head is being slammed into the wall. Are you kidding me?
The supporting conditions for that to occur. And I've initiated even more stringent reporting.
I've taken action. I'm here from the government. I'm helping. Feel safe that I have armed thugs beating unarmed people who were searched with no weapons. Feel safe because I'm on the job and I'm making new policy and we're going to stop this. But this is not a racial issue because the officer wasn't white that did the initial beating. Unstinking believable.